Hello everyone, welcome to my channel all about PhD by Dr. Ritika Gaba, your one and only PhD mentor, PhD trainer and advisor. In one of our previous videos, we had told you all about part-time PhD and how part-time PhD can be done by working professionals who are eligible for it, when can you apply, how can you apply and where can you apply. In case any one of you has missed that video, then for you we are sharing the link above. In the same video, we had promised you that very soon we are going to come up of a video dedicated to full-time PhD scholars. So here we are. This video, we are going to talk about all aspects of full-time PhD. So stay tuned. This video is divided into 5 sections. In the first section, we will tell you who is a full-time PhD scholar, how do you define a full-time PhD scholar, and then we will tell you what are the activities or what are the responsibilities of a full-time PhD scholars. In the third section, we will tell you about the fellowships which a full-time PhD scholars can avail. In the fourth section, we are going to tell you will all full-time PhD or do get a fellowship? And the last part, that is the fifth part, we will tell you what are the advantages of being a full-time PhD scholar. Let us start with section 1. Who is a full-time PhD scholar? So a student who decides to completely dedicate its time to pursuing their research work, their PhD, and does not take up any additional employment along with their PhD is called a full-time scholar. These scholars have to visit the university very regularly, rather daily. In fact, most of the full-time PhD programs are residential programs. That means that the students have to stay within the university or institute campus. In case they are not staying, in case they are allowed to stay outside, then also they have to regularly go to the university or the institute. In section 2, we are going to discuss what are the different kind of responsibilities and activities that a full-time PhD scholar is engaged in. I'm sure that you must be wondering, why does a full-time PhD scholar go to a university daily? What does he or she do over there? So of course, every full-time scholar has to fulfill their research responsibilities of writing a thesis, learning various statistical methods, reading research papers, and so on and so forth, which they obviously have to do. But besides that, they have to undertake a number of other academic responsibilities within the university. In fact, certain universities and institutes, since the very beginning, tell the research scholars that they have to take up teaching. So 8 to 12 hours of teaching load is usually given to full-time PhD scholars. Besides this, they also help their department and their supervisor in organizing various conferences and various seminars. They might also be engaged in evaluation and in invigilation duties. So overall, they are helping the department, their guide in carrying out various kind of teaching and academic responsibilities besides doing their research work. So in the third section, we are going to discuss what are the various kind of fellowship that a full-time scholar can get. So basically, there are 2 kinds of fellowship which a full-time scholar can get. First is a fellowship which they get by qualifying a fellowship exam. So there are various examinations which are conducted by the Ministry of Education. Different departments conduct their examination, like we have NBHM, we have Department of Biotechnology, we have JIBILS, we have JEST, and so on. But of course, the 2 most popular JRF examination or Junior Research Fellowship examination, which I'm sure all of you must be knowing about, is UGC-NET JRF and CSIR NET JRF. So if a student qualifies any of these fellowship exams, Then through that, after they start pursuing their PhD in full-time mode, they would get a fellowship from the government or from the department of whose exam they have qualified. So this is the first method. In the second method, they can apply to an institute which is giving fellowship to their full-time scholars. And we say that this is the institute fellowship method. So in this method, you apply to an institute which is giving fellowship to its full-time scholars. In one of our previous videos, we had told you that how IIM gives fellowship to all its full-time PhD scholars. Similarly, there are many other institutes which are giving fellowship to their full-time PhD scholars, and if you want, you can apply in those institutes. So these are the two methods through which you can get a fellowship when you are pursuing your PhD in full-time mode. So in the next section, we are going to discuss, do all full-time PhD scholars get a fellowship? The answer is no. All full-time scholars do not get a fellowship. So I understand that it must be a surprise for you, but this is truth. I'll give you an example from Indian Institute of Technology, IIT. So some of the IITs have the following types of full-time scholars. So the first category are those scholars who get assistantship, or the institute provides them with fellowship to do a PhD. The second is who've qualified a fellowship examination, and through that fellowship examination they are getting a monthly fellowship. And the third is self-financed. These are those students who are full-time scholars but they do not get any fellowship. Besides this, there are many private and deemed universities who have said that they will not give fellowship to all their full-time scholars, but rather than to a certain selected group of students who have been performing well in their either in their viva or once they've taken admission, their performance is good. So to certain selected students, they would be providing assistantship. Then there are others who say that they will be providing fellowship on a rotation basis. So they provide fellowship for say 1 year to X group of people, and then they continue and provide fellowship to another group of people. So you can say, rather than providing fellowship for a complete period of 5 years, which is usually the time for which a fellowship is provided if you are specially availing through any institute or a fellowship examination, usually 5 years is the term for which you are given a fellowship. But in this case, they put it on rotation, so they might be giving fellowship only for a single year and then to another group for another year. So different institutes have different policy, and therefore not all full-time scholars always get a fellowship. With this, we come to the end of our video. Yes, I remember one section is left where we are going to talk about the advantages of full-time scholars. We will do that in the next part of this video, where we will be telling you about 11 different advantages of being a full-time scholar. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, then subscribe to our channel. Like our video, share and ask us questions. We love to answer them in the next Q&A section. This is Dr. Ritika Gaba, your PhD coach, mentor and guide from Zenith PhD Training and Consultancy. And thank you for watching my videos.